Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you know, once again, we have Ring of Honor, of course, featuring the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Wrestling Championship on the line. Deonna Purrazzo once again defends it, but this time against someone who, of course, Athena believes should have won it to begin with, and that is Billie Starkz. And of course, as you know, we have a bit of a rematch between Nick Wayne, our current ROH World Television Champion, taking on the man who he defeated the belt for, and that is Commander, of course. And we have plenty other matches as well. And then we move on with TNA. As you know, they're heading to Sacrifice. So battle lines are being drawn. However, of course, we're going to see a face-to-face confrontation between both Steve Maclin and Mike Santana as we head, of course, to Sacrifice. And plenty other things as well. And of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So, let's begin with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. We opened up with the ROH Women's Pure Wrestling title. Now, this whole thing started when Deonna Purrazzo, of course, won this belt. And Athena, as you know, felt disgusted, saying that the title is tainted by Deonna Purrazzo. Because, of course, we cannot deny that Deonna Purrazzo brought back women's division in Ring of Honor back in 2015. But, of course, Athena likes to claim that she revolutionized it because it's her locker room. She's the one who makes the call. But, however, Deonna has to face against a woman she defeated for this belt when it was, of course, being inaugurated. So that sets it up. However, of course, Billie Starkz will attempting try to cheat her way through on this one, but no. But there was only one rope break that was used by Billie Starkz, and of course, what's her name? Deonna did not do anything else except she defeated her when she applied the Venus de Milo, and just like that, it was over. And of course, High-End and Maya World, as you know, came out to celebrate the fact that she retained the belt. But however, of course, Diamante and Athena attacked from behind. Of course, Maya World next week will be facing Athena for the ROH Women's World title, which is going to be very interesting. But however, of course, Deonna, Maya, and High-End fought back, sending a direct message no matter what, because Diana is now realizing that the Athena is basically maybe losing control of the ROH women's division, but we'll see how things will roll from there. Now, our next match, we have Mark Davis taking on Angelico. So it's a very interesting matchup. I mean, Mark Davis, of course, he is a bit of a powerhouse, but you look at Angelico, he had a high flying background, but also has some groundwork since his time in Mexico, learning about submission techniques. And of course, you ask yourself, how is he going to withstand with Mark Davis? Well, Mark Davis, of course, is a big, powerful dude, and possibly pissed because he lost the AEW World Trios title. Well, he probably took his frustration out on Angelico, and then he just clobbered him with the lariat. 1, 2, 3, done. Now, we have a very interesting matchup, the Dark Order. We have Alex Reynolds and Evil Uno taking on Busta and the Brain, consistent of Alec Price and Jordan Oliver. Now, some of you may question, who the hell is the Busta? Well, the one person I can think of, and of course, I think Ian Riccaboni and Coleman Caprice, I believe, is Alec Price, and the Brain is Jordan Oliver. And I think many of us thought in this match that the Dark Order, since they are more recognized in the Ring of Honor, they definitely had this one in the back. Nope, I was a bit of surprise. We saw some great teamwork with both Jordan Oliver and Alec Price. They were able to wipe out Reynolds, and it was Alec Price that picked up the pinfall onto Reynolds, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. I wouldn't be surprised if they would make the way to challenge for the ROH World Tag Team belts. Our next match, we have Robin Renegade taking on Rachel Ellering. So, of course, we all seen these ladies before during the AW Jacksonville days, of course, on Dark and very other events. And it's a pretty good fun one in case anybody remembered. But I think many people might have thought Rachel Ellering might have picked up the win, but nope. It was, in fact, Robin Renegade with a springboard moonsault onto Rachel Ellering. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have Big Bill taking on Logan Cruz. Well, you can guess this one was over anyway. Big Bill used like the black hole slam, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, we have the ladies of Shane Taylor Promotion, Christian XO and Trish Adora, taking on Dream Girl Ali and Kelsey Reagan. And of course, this is the first time we see Christian XO in the Ring of Honor ring. And of course, she did show a bit of powerful, but in fact it was Trish Adora to Kelsey when she applied Lariat Tubman onto Kelsey, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, we have a 6-person tag match. Aladon teaming up with the Grizzle Young Vets, consistent of James Drake and Zach Gibson. They take on Valentina Rossi, the OXP, and Rosario Grillo. For those who don't know the OXP, his name is Justin Ortiz. He actually did some stunt work in Cobra Kai. You might have seen him, but yes. And I have to say, he was very impressive. But unfortunately, that impressiveness didn't do any well because Grillo ended up on the wrong side of the Grizzle Your Teeth by the GYV. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. However, of course, all 3 individuals decided to punish their opponents as soon as during the post-match, but thank God for Skyfly to show up to stop them from taking things further. So we'll see what goes on from there. Our next match, we have Diamante versus Hyena Hera, and of course Diamante was going to pick up the win. She pinned her up with a very interesting move, kind of like a little bit like the Crossroads. But however, of course, just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, of course, Diamante decided to punish Hera more in order to send a direct message to Athena. I mean, to Deonna Purrazzo. So we'll see where that goes from there. Our next match, we have the Superstars taking on the Lethal Twist, consistent of Jay Lethal, Blake Christian, and Lee Johnson. Well, you can guess this match ended with the Lethal Twist. They pinned one of the Superstars. I don't even know the name of these guys. But just like that, as it was over, it was by pinfall, 1, 2, 3. But however, during the post-match, they wanted to brutalize them even further. But thank God for Bandito, Adam Priest, and Tommy Billington, who all have some scores to settle with Lethal Twist. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, our main event, of course, is the ROH World Television title. Commander gets his rematch against Nick Wayne. And of course, Nick Wayne, as you know, will definitely not try to lose this belt one way or the other. And of course, Commander, later on, we did see his knee was giving up on him and all that. Nick Wayne tried to dismantle him. However, he might have hurt himself even further during the running shooting star press when Nick Wayne got out of the way. And of course, Commander landed on his feet, but it was just too much. But it was the pump handle power bomb by the brainbuster by Nick Wayne that put him out. 1, 2, 3. It was over. So we'll see what happens with him down the line. But until then, we'll leave things as it is and move on with our last and final review, and that is, of course, TNA. Okay, TNA. So, we opened up with singles action. We have Frankie Kazarian taking on He's the Hometown Man. And of course, that idiot AJ Francis with a commentary desk. Now we all know what the heck he was doing there, and that's exactly what he intends to do, to cost the match against for Hometown Man, to make sure his buddy Frankie Kazarian won. But however, it may not have worked exactly like they would have hoped for, because somehow Hometown Man put Kazarian in an inside cradle, and 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, of course, retribution was coming, but lights went out. Ding. Yep, Elijah showed up and he whacked AJ Francis with the guitar. So it was a long time coming, so he had that covered. So we'll see how things will go from there. Now, we did see the Angels Warriors have an interview. However, many of you know that Li Yingli does have a Knockouts World Title rematch contingency taking place. So that's exactly what she could do. So, of course, she has not only Ariana Grace in her sights, but Dana Luna, who, of course, eventually she was supposed to face, but never got to, is also beat her in the match. So we'll see how things will go from there. Now, Santino Marella was talking to Daria. Now, Santino said he was a little bit worried about how things would turn out between both Mike Santana and Steve Macklin, in the hopes that if they do beat the hell out of each other and they violate the clause that if they touch each other, they lose everything. And of course, Daria was annoyed by that. But of course, Santino told her, well, you got to be prepared if anything goes wrong. But there's nothing wrong. But of course, she thinks there's nothing going to go wrong. But however, he does have another dilemma that he wanted to run by her. Apparently, as you know, we have two people who have their sights set on the Knockouts World Title. Well, as you know, Li Yingling does have a consensual rematch clause that she could cash in at any given time. But however, we also got Dana Luna, who was supposed to challenge for this belt but never got to due to visa issues. So Santino Marella thought, let's just put them in sacrifice for the title. And of course, it was just a decent thing to do, knowing too well that there's going to be other sharks in the water that would get their hands on that. So we'll see how that turns out too. Now, Mr. Elegance making his in-ring debut, finally, even though he's annoying. He challenges against Mike Jackson. Now, of course, this was something that little chihuahua wanted, because, yes, he's an old man. So what? He can still kick ass in his 70s. And that's the thing. But, however, Mr. Elegance took him out, what he calls, Excuse Wall or something like that, I don't know. Just 1, 2, 3, it was over. But, however, of course, well, these jerk monkeys decided they want to humiliate Mike Jackson, but thank God for OBD showing up. She whacked Mr. Elegance with the chair and then tossed that little food that they had from her food truck and tossed it on Mr. Elegance. And of course, they act all shocked and surprised. Mr. Elegance all embarrassed. So he had that coming because, as you know, the Elegance brands are disrespecting legends. And that's one of the things. Now, the system, as you know, they have few things on their mind. Of course, Brian Myers and Bear Bronson, their sights are set for the TNA World Tag Team belt. And of course, Cedric Alexander on the X Division title. And as, of course, for Eddie Edwards, the World title. So now, they're aiming to grab as many gold as they want. But now we'll see how that plays out too. Now, Dani Luna teams up with Ariana Grace to take on the Angel Warriors. Now, one thing that was really interesting is the team up between Dani Luna and Ariana Grace. Now, of course, you can tell by Dani Luna, she probably looks at Ariana Grace, that's supposed to be my belt, bitch. But, of course, they were able to get along well, not to mention that Idiot Stacks got involved. But it was Dani Luna with the lunar landing onto Zaya Brookside, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. So, all bets are off. Now, Leon Slater put out a video promo who, as you know, he was viciously attacked by Eric Young, so apparently he has some unfinished business, and he called him out. So we'll see where that goes from there, too. Now, Moose took out faces Brian Myers. However, Santino Marella thought of the smart move to remove the system. However, because of this distraction, Moose was able to prepare the spear and blammo! Took him out. 1, 2, 3, over. Now, Rosemary, once again, as you know, is trying, I don't know if attempting to bring back Ali, but she made a little visit to someone who is familiarized in the wrestling world, and that is Raven. Of course, we haven't seen him for quite some time. As you know, he said that he had a little special treat for her, which is a blood of Tommy Dreamers in a sort of vial from 1994. So we'll see what that meant. Now, the system, as you know, they're not happy with how this whole thing transpired, but one of them decided, look, we got to look ahead, okay? We got the tag times on our... Alright, what was I? Oh, yes, sorry. So, of course, the system, as you know, they cannot think about what just happened, because at the moment, let's just say they are focusing on what the task it has. The tag titles, the world title, and the X Division title. Now, Mara Shade made her presence known in the commentary booth to watch the match between Lena Black and Jada Stone. Now, it seems like things were going well for a time. However, once again, Jada Stone's rival, Tasha Steelz, cost her the match, allowing for Elena Black to apply her move known as Blackout. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. And of course, Elena Black got in the face of Mara Shade. They were about to get into brawl, but security decided to intervene. However, while that was happening, Jada Stone was in the ring by herself. Well, that jerkweed, of course, Mustafa Ali and the Order of Force showed up. But thank God for Trey Miguel showing up to make things right. However, during an exclusive contest, of course, Jada Steelz had enough of Tasha Steelz butting in her business. So, sooner or later, those two have to team up and deal with that. Now, as you know, Tessa Blanchard was telling her friends, Victoria Crawford and Milo Moore, that her sights for the TNA Knockouts World title is still there. But however, Jody Threat, as you know, feels like it's not her decision to jump in, because, of course, Tessa Blanchard feels like everybody has to stand behind her. She's the one first in line. And she had backup with her, Myla Grace and Harley Hudson. So we'll see where that goes from there. Our main event is, of course, the Meneth brothers, Nick, and he is Nick Meneth's brother. The end. Ryan Meneth take on the Righteous. Now, of course, we've been seeing the Meneth brothers trying to use tactics to ensure this match goes. Not dirty tactics, but to delay each other in the matter. But it was, of course, little brother Ryan Meneth with the big Hollywood ending onto, of course, Vincent. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, of course, the show ended with the face-to-face confrontation between both Mike Santana and Steve Macklin. So, of course, a lot of things are taking place. So, as you know, they have a lot of history and all that. So, we'll see what happens. But no brawl took place. So, they knew what was at stake. So, we'll see what happens when we get to Sacrifice. But as of right now, we are done with the reviews. Let's move on with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events. First, we have, of course, GCW events. Now, as you know, before we head to Las Vegas, the day after the last call event, of course, in Las Vegas on the 4th of April, they will be making their way to LA for Maniac. And they just announced Slade will be taking on Kid Bandit. And then, of course, we have the Las Vegas show, the Bloodsport 15 in Las Vegas. They just announced, of course, the frontman of TMDK, Zack Sabre Jr., will be making his presence known. Now, as you know, recently they did mention there was going to be a new show in Maryland making their debut in Jopa on the 1st of May. More names have been added. We have Gringo Loco, Kerry Morton, Vengador, and Vipress. Now, as you know, we have the annual Tournament of Survival on the 6th of June in Atlantic City. Two names have been mentioned who's going to participate, and that is, of course, Vipress and Mr. Danger. Now, the following day after this tournament, they have, of course, the Cage of Survival 5 that also is going to be in Atlantic City. So they haven't mentioned names yet, but we'll get there soon enough. Now, on to Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling updates. Now, as you know, they have the 2-day show, one where they collaborate with Ring of Honor for Global Wars Canada and Uprising on the 28th. They just announced Rich Swann will be making his presence known there too. And then, of course, as you know, we had the Las Vegas show, Multiverse, that takes place on the 17th of April. Persephone will be making her presence as well. Now, we have the Pro Wrestling Eve with the on the 10th of April, Bruised, Battered, and Hangover. They just announced Anita Vaughn will take on Billy Starks. Then we have the March Hitchcock Memorial Super Show on the 16th of April in Las Vegas. They just announced the Headbangers will take on Rhino and He Got Kids, Heath. And then finally, as you know, the Las Vegas show with Spark Joshi, Puroresu of America with Lady Luck 2 on the 19th. They just announced Azumi will be also participating. Now, on to some developments. We want to give congratulations to Erik and Sarah Logan. As you know, they just announced that they're expecting the third child, so that's going to be a handful with 3 kids now. But congratulations, guys. Many of you may have not have heard this new wrestler named Princess of the Sun. Well, apparently it was revealed that she is the daughter of the late La Parka AAA. If you guys remember him, he was that funny guy who made everybody smile and laugh, and he was one of my absolute favorites. And of course, sadly, he died after being injured in a ring. But yes, his daughter was involved, is now a wrestler. I do know his son is also a wrestler too, so it seems like they might want to follow the family footsteps. Now, that's pretty much it for that. Oh yeah, and of course, Sareee had some things to say on an interview. One thing she mentioned. Let me pull that up. Of course. She talks about returning to Japan after her WWE contract ended in March of 2023. And this is what she said. To be honest, I did wonder if it was okay to return to Japan without having achieved anything in the US. But when I thought about what really I wanted to do, I realized I should be doing the kind of pro wrestling I believe is the fullest within the limit I have. I have been working with the desire to become the strongest within the world of Japanese women's wrestling, which is my origin. So yeah, I mean, I get it that some people expected you back to have achieved success, but she never did. Some people say that WWE dropped the ball on this one. I mean, I wouldn't mind about that. But she did talk about her time with WWE, and this is what she said. That was the most difficult period wrestling life. So many wrestlers on WWE roster. It was hard enough just to select for matches. On top of that, it coincided with the COVID-19 pandemic, so I couldn't wrestle as much as I wanted to. In the midst of that, I was assigned a high school girl character. I had gone there intending to bring the strength of Japanese women's wrestling with me, but the reality is of what was expected of me was different, and it was painful due to stress. I developed massive craving for sweets. there times when even after lunch I would eat in an American size parfait, followed by a big size Hagen Dazs. I don't know what that is, and my face would end up covered in acne. Still, I did my absolute best looking back now, and all it has become is nourishment for my experience. Not a single bit of it was a waste. Now, some people say it was a waste, but she doesn't see it that way. I mean, I can see that she's trying to be positive. I get that. I mean, some people will probably say to her, "Come on, Sareee, you know it was a waste. Don't try to turn it into a positive." I mean, I get it, guys. I mean, people can try to say, "Look, maybe it wasn't all that bad like I might have thought, but we'll move forward." Now, Mercedes Moné, as you know, there's been talks about her return to AEW soon, and this is what she had to say on the Wrestling Time. She said, "Now I'm returning really, really soon, but right now I'm on my Mercedes Madness tour all over Europe. That ends in Canada. Though, first I stayed in Mexico. Now that I'm in Italy, next stop Paris, then London, then Poland, then Winnipeg. So after that, Mama's gonna return home." Now there have been recent talks about her recently about her losing the belt. There's possibility that maybe, just maybe, she may be going for the AEW Women's World Title. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, Toni Storm, many of you may saw what happened on this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Apparently, she is going to be out of action, according to what Brian Alvarez says. It's going to be a long time due to an undisclosed injury or injuries. So it's still unclear on that part. But if she's going to take some time off, I get it. But we'll see if there's more information on that. But as of right now, we're done. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, I did hear we do have a New Japan show with the New Japan Cup. So I'm going to presume it might be the semifinals, but I'm not sure if they're going to have the finals in that very same day. If they do, then good. If not, then, we'll see what happens. We'll just see. So the priority is New Japan. So I'm going to try to catch up what I can in whatever I need to do. So stay tuned for more. But as of right now, we're done. I'll say this for right now. I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.